Okay, let's start the recording. Okay, we're learning this very interesting and complicated sikha of the Rebbe about the holiday of Shavuot. And the Rebbe especially is explaining what it means when Mashiach comes and says there's going to be a new Torah. Torah Chadasha, Torah Me'iti Teitze. So the Torah is going to come out from God. Okay, first of all, the first Torah, when we got with Torah on Mount Sinai, that didn't come from God. That also came from God. And what does it mean, a new Torah? It says that the Torah will never be changed. Very basic fact of reality. When God gave the Torah, that's it. He put truth in the world. The Torah is never going to change. What does it mean it's going to be a new Torah? So the Rebbe says, okay, we have to understand something. The Torah is very complicated. Like the human body is very complicated. Things that are alive are complicated. That's the way God made it. People have come along, they try to simplify it. You don't have to do any commandments. We learned just in the mimer over here, right? The difference in the limbs, that's the Torah. You want to take away the limbs, it's like a dead body. A dead body is also something, right? Alas, poor Yorak, a fellow of infinite jest, here he is, he's laying there on a plank, and there's no difference between his head and his toes and everything. It's just a dead body. That's if you want to take away the commandments from Judaism, it just kills the whole thing. And then there's the Torah. The Torah is also very complicated. And there's also laws which regard the Torah. But on the other hand, and it says the Torah will never change. On the other hand, when God gave the Torah, he gave it mostly hidden. And we have to learn the Torah and reveal new things, certain things that are revealed and certain things which are, you can't, and there's principles which were revealed. God gave the principles by which we can learn new ideas from the Torah, and what is the limits of this learning? Just make anything up you want to? And who are the people that can learn this? Just anybody who just picks up a book? You can say, oh, I think it means like this. I think, right? This is I got a feeling from the Lord, right? That this is what it means. You can't do that. There's the very, very exact criterion of who can be a lawmaker in Judaism, who can be a rabbi. Very, very exact criterion. And of course, in the course of history, people have come and tried to take away, then change it and distort it and pervert it and divert it and everything. But nevertheless, amazingly, despite all of the enemies of Judaism that have been for the last, since Abraham, but especially since the temple is destroyed, but even before that, there was the Tzadukim, and there was the Baitusim, and the Shomranim, and there's the Karaim, and there was all these people that came, the Christians, and the Zionists, and the Reform, and the Conservative, and all these people, enemies of the Torah, but still, nothing's going to stop the Mashiach, and nothing's going to take away Judaism. So all these things, but on the other hand, Judaism is very complicated. It's very, very complicated. There's a lot of laws. On one hand, it's tremendously simple. You just do the laws, do even one law. You do one law that it says you get heaven, could get heaven forever. Who knows? You're attached to every law is infinite. So the Torah is very, very complicated. So it says the Mashiach is going to come and he's going to bring all the Jews back to doing the Torah and the commandments, and feeling that's what the Rebbes of Chabad are doing. That's what the Rebbes of Chabad are. They're the Mashiach. It says to bring all the Jews back to do the Torah and the commandments and to feel the godliness in the commandments. It says to this end, the Mashiach is going to give a new Torah. What does it mean, a new Torah? It's going to be the same Torah, right? It says, well, sort of, but not exactly. Number one, the Mashiach is going to reveal new meaning in all the commandments. So we're going to feel the godliness, like we just finished learning, the blood in the commandments. And of course, I know very well that there's religions that have perverted every idea that I'm bringing up. They've perverted it. But nevertheless, here we're listening to the truth. It says Mashiach is going to come and he's going to bring two things, what it means, a new Torah. Number one is there's going to be deeper meaning in all of the sentences, godliness. Everyone will be, it says, Rambam says, the Jewish people will be wise, and the whole world will only be interested in knowing God, the Creator, and therefore all the other religions, they'll all drop their religions, they'll realize that they're just lies and they're false But you can't blame them. I mean, up to now, the Jews themselves didn't believe in the Torah. So what do you want from them? And then there'll be new meaning. That's number one. Number two, there'll be new laws. Says the Rebbe, new meaning 100%. Good, they're going to be new meaning, and we're going to see, because now we don't, we have all these Kabbalah books, and we don't really understand the depth of the Kabbalah. And so everybody will understand Kabbalah, and they'll understand the mysteries of the Torah. And when you do the commandments, you'll feel, like we said, the blood, the life in the commandments. What's this thing about new commandments? You can't do that. You can't make new commandments. It says that the commandments, lo b'shamayim. The Torah is not in heaven. The Torah was given to the rabbis. And like we said, there's very strict criterion who can be a rabbi. And even those rabbis are not allowed to make new laws. You can't make new laws. You can make fences and things like that. Once in a while, there can be, like Elijah, the prophet, it says on Mount Carmel, he made a sacrifice outside of the temple. You're not allowed to do that. But he did it one time. One time you can do. But one second, this thing about new meaning, okay, I go along with that, but you can't make new commandments. So it says, well, here it goes. It says that in the future, there's going to be this war between this big fish, Leviathan, and this big ox, Shor HaBor. And that the Leviathan is going to slaughter the Shor HaBor with its fins. And it's going to be kosher. I don't know exactly how it's kosher with a fish. If a fish kills an animal, it's not kosher, but okay, that they don't deal with that. Nevertheless, it's okay. But you can't slaughter with a fin. A fin goes up and down. It's serrated, and that's an improper slaughtering. So it says there's going to be a new law, a new Torah. That's what it means. Torah me'ite teitze. A new Torah is going to be. Okay, so we have to understand what this means. It's a clear law in the Torah that the Torah will never change. Let's keep this here. We did this yesterday, I think. It's a clear thing in the Torah that the Torah will never change. It is eternal, the Torah, like it says, it's called Dvar Tishmu laso lo tosif lo tigram. You're not allowed to remove any laws of the Torah, and you're not allowed to add new laws of the Torah. You can make fences around the laws of the Torah. You can make fences, rabbinical laws. You can add on, but you can't subtract laws from the Torah. So if so, we have to understand, what does it mean there's going to be a new Torah? What does it mean, a new Torah? Say maybe the rabbis will make new things. No, the Moshiach will make new laws, because the Moshiach was going to be a big prophet, like Moses. But you can't do that. A prophet can't decide laws. After Moses made the laws, you can't make new laws. So what's going on? How can a prophet? So the Rebbe started to explain, and this is where we got up to. It said that when God gave the Torah, he gave it in a way that a lot of it was concealed, and that God gave the principles by which to reveal these certain laws. That's what the whole Talmud is about. It says, therefore, maybe we can say that this is the new Torah that's going to come. Sheba Matan Torah, that when the Torah was given, it was only one time. Shaloya od pa Matan Torah. The giving of the Torah is never going to be again. What was given on the in Mount Sinai, this is eternal. It'll never change. When the Torah was given, nitnu kol inyanei Torah kula, then all of the Torah was given. Even these new things that the Mashiach is going to reveal, and we're going to see that in a minute. That will be revealed by means of Mashiach. What will be revealed by Mashiach? We said two things. The reasons and the secrets and mysteries of the Torah that were given, all of them, right? So tame mischat tzfuneha, like it says, that will be given the secrets of all the commandments. We're learning a little bit about that. We just finished Moshe and Sinai. And Kululim Behelim, and also in the Torah, which God gave on Mount Sinai, they were considered Ella, Sheish Chiluk Yesodi V'ikri Ben Chidushim Shemitgalim Al Yedei Talmid Vasik V'Zaman Hazeh LaTorah Chadasha. So it says, and also there'll be all the laws that the Mashiach will reveal, and also all the laws that have been revealed by great rabbis through the generations. Right? You read the Talmud, if you know how to read the Talmud, It's just a tremendous pleasure. The arguments between Rebbe Akiva and Rebbe, and there's Rabba and Abaya, and there's the Talmud and Amoraim and the Tanaim. And also in the Torah that Moshe got was also the Torah that Mashiach is going to reveal. So they were all hidden and they'll be revealed, that's all. Says, but the Rebbe says no, but there's a big difference between what the pupils and the Tanaim and the Amoraim, what's revealed in the Mishnah and the Gemara, and all the rabbis, what they reveal is a little bit different than the new Torah that the Mashiach is going to reveal. Hachidushim, the novelty, what they call novelai, the new ideas and the new, and you say revelations which are in the Torah that are revealed now by means of rabbis, kiven sheitgalusam, because their revelation is by means of hard work. Besichlo, you learn the Talmud, it sometimes becomes very, very hard. You have to remember all of the opinions that are there, and then there's the sub-opinions, and people argue about sub-arguments and sub-arguments. It's a tremendous effort that these rabbis put through in order to get to the truth. So in these laws that are revealed in the Talmud, it's understood, Shagam Kodem Itgalutam, before they were revealed, they were included in the Torah in a way that a person could find them and reveal them. You just had to work with your mind. Helam sheyesh lo b'metzias, mina helam elagiloi, from concealed to be revealed. And this has been going on through the generations. That's ideas that were revealed by human intelligence, right? Using your mind, of course, having fear of God and praying that God directs your mind properly, but still by human intelligence. Masha'en came, which is not the case, Torah Chadasha, which is not the case, the new Torah, Shetit Kalev, which will be revealed in the future, Kaven She'en B'Yecholos Adam, since a normal person will not be able to reveal it. This is going to be Torah that says Torah Chadasha, Me'ite Tete, it's going to come out from God Himself. So it's understood, She'it Kalalutam B'Torah, that the way that these laws that Mashiach is going to reveal, the way they are concealed in the Torah that Moshe received on Sinai, everything was in Torah that Moses received on Mount Sinai. But the laws that were revealed by the Tanaim, Amoraim, all the rabbis, this is by means of human intelligence. God wants us, it's a commandment to work at the Torah, to learn the Torah, to understand the Torah. But the ideas that are going to be revealed by Mashiach, these are not going to be revealed by the power or the ability of Mashiach. This is going to be revealed only by God. They were concealed totally. It's impossible for them to be revealed. Helam she'enu b'metzias. It's something like, I can give you an example, something like the Rebbe said that before he was 3 years old, he had it in his mind already woven how Mashiach is going to come and he's going to explain all the pain and suffering of the Jewish people. Right? Now that's a thing which is impossible to explain. Well, you're going to explain the Holocaust. You're going to explain, right? That's cruel. That's insane. You can't explain, oh, it happened because these people sinned, because this guy's what are you talking about? The Jewish people are God's chosen, they're God's sons. A father doesn't kill his sons. How are you going to explain it like that? Especially in the terrible ways that it happened. Right? The terrible way. True, all these things it says in the Torah, the curses we just finished learning. But nevertheless, a father will threaten to somebody, won't do it. How can we explain it? There's no way you can explain it. It says Mashiach is going to come and explain it. It's something which is totally, totally concealed from every human being. It says the same thing with the new Torah the Mashiach is going to reveal, the new laws. The new laws, this is a concealment that, so to speak, it's not there. It's not hidden. It's not like gold that's hidden under the ground. And therefore, he's galusa lati. Therefore, the revelation in the future will be by means of God. It'll be chidush, Torah chadasha. It'll be a new ideas in the Torah. But ein aruch lagamri, incomparable to the Torah nowadays. Like the rabbis say, Torah she'adam lamed ba'olam hazeh. The Torah that we learn today is going to be hevel. It's just like empty wind compared to the Torah of the Mashiach. Okay, how is this going to be revealed, the Torah? So we say, here's one of the ways that this big fish is going to be able to slaughter this big ox by means of its fins, even though it goes up and down. The fins go up and down and they're not smooth. That's it. That's what we're waiting for Mashiach to come for. That he's going to explain that the fish can kill the ox. That's this new Torah. Right? And because of that, it forces us to say that there's going to be a new Torah. What does this mean? What's going on? We can understand the idea of the secrets that are going to be revealed and the new levels of love that we're going to have and appreciation of God and new levels of fear. No, that's okay. That's realistic. Man will change his priorities. But what's such a big deal that the fish is going to be able to kill the ox with a knife that's not straight? We're going to see what's so special about this. According to this, now we can understand. So it says, but nevertheless, it's going to be these are going to be new ideas that are going to be revealed only by God. They were in the Torah. Yes, they were in the Torah that Moses got, but they were concealed and hidden in such a way that they could only be revealed by prophecy, if you want to call it, by God himself. Now we can understand what it means. Torah Chadasha mitititza, that comes by a new Torah. Now we have to understand that a prophet, no matter how great he is, he cannot rescind any law that Moses gave. Doesn't make any difference how great or holy a prophet is. Even if a holy voice comes, we learned about that, didn't we, here in the class, about the argument between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua. A whole argument. Anyways, it says in the Talmud in Baba Metzia that there was a big argument about something. And Rabbi Eliezer said, the law is like me. And everybody disagreed with him. And he said, to prove that the law is like me, see that big river over there? It'll change its course. It'll go backwards. And it did. And they said, I'm sorry, rivers don't decide laws. Only Jews decide laws. Said, well, you see that big tree over there? It'll uproot itself and it'll jump, right? A huge, whatever, the tree 100 feet high. With all the roots, it'll jump. And it did it. And they said, trees don't decide laws. And he said, well, if the law is like me, Rabbi Eliezer said, if the law is like me, then let a voice come out from heaven. And a voice came out from heaven and said, the law is like Rabbi Eliezer. And the rabbi said, Lo b'shamayim, the Torah is not in heaven. Even if God himself comes and tells us the law, God said he gave the Torah. When he gave the Torah, he said that all laws are decided by rabbis. And he gave the criterion of what a rabbi is. And that's it. We're the rabbis. Because how can a prophet then come and make new laws? You can't do that. It says that the Mashiach is going to come and reveal a new law. He's going to be a big prophet. This is part of the Torah that was given to Moshe Sinai. Ein law, lo shina, there's no changes, and it's not lo b'shamayim, it's not in heaven. And a prophet cannot make anything new. Just because the Mashiach is a prophet, right? A prophet and a holy person, and God does miracles, who knows what he is? Those are not the criterion for making laws in the Torah. You can't change the laws. It's like somebody coming in the middle of a baseball game and saying, and hitting the referee in the head with a baseball bat and said, that's it, I won, home run. So it's not a home run, you get put in jail. No, I changed the laws. I changed the rules. Can't change the rules in the middle of it, right? What the Mashiach is going to come, he's going to change the rules. All of a sudden, a prophet can't reveal no laws. And here it says that it will. It says a new Torah is going to come from. What's going on? Then again, regarding to revealing the secrets of the Torah by means of God, they'll come from me. Af shedargas a Torah, this level of the Torah which cannot be revealed by any human being, only by God himself. This is the lo be'erech kalal l'sechla shel adam lamat. That level of the Torah, it says that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he revealed these levels of the Torah that can't be revealed. He revealed the secrets which will. The Torah is lo b'shamayim. The Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he gave us the taste of these law of the secrets of the Torah that the Mashiach is going to reveal. Chabad Chasidut explains them. Hari Alze and Nemar, it says Torah Chadasha Mitetetze. It says that there's going to be a new Torah. Tetze, it'll come out. Not God is going to give the Torah. That the Torah is going to come from heaven, and it'll come below in the world. What? These are talking about the secrets of the Torah. The secrets of the Torah. There's going to be new intelligence of man. Man's intelligence will be increased. Yesh Lomo, we said before, the world will be filled with the knowledge of God. Yesh Lomo, we can say, that the Torah is going to come out from God. Lavolamata come below in the earth, mudgashes behis galus, Torah chadasha by means of Melech Mashiach. The Melech Mashiach, he's going to be the one that's going to reveal this. She'im Yosef Navi Gadol, even though that the Mashiach is going to be a big prophet, and he's going to be almost the level of Moses. Other places it says he's going to be greater than Moses. Yeah, Gam Bal Chachma, but he's also going to be very wise. Yotam Shlomo, even more than King Solomon. Therefore, he's going to be able to take these high ideas and bring them down to the people. It says by King Solomon that he knew how to say 3,000 examples, Shlosh Telefim Mashal, that he could take the deepest ideas and bring it down 3,000 levels. It says Mashiach is going to bring it even deeper. Everyone, even the non-Jews, will understand the oneness of God. Deep secrets. Hainusha, Torah Chadash, this new Torah, which will be revealed by prophecy, these new ideas, understandings, will be drawn, labish, and be clothed, gam b'chachma basavadam, even in human minds. Even in the philosophy teachers will be teaching in the philosophy classes, right? That all these philosophies we learn with Kant and Spiegel and Spinoza and all these guys, that it was all, a good try, but it was, now we're going to learn the truth. Who Yolomid Kol and he'll teach all the people. Shiyu Chachamim Gedolim, the people will be great, wise people, and they'll know secrets. V'yasigu das boram, and everyone will understand. They will be able to understand the mind of God according to human ability. Hainu Shagam and Yanim Hachin Alim, even the things which are the highest, the new Torah will be understood. That's regarding the understanding. Okay, now we're going to get to the hard part. What about the laws? What about the laws of the Torah? Heter Shchita, for instance, we had the example, the only example we're bringing is how that you can slaughter an ox by means of the fins of a fish. Up to now, that's been forbidden. Up to the Mashiach, it's been forbidden. Mashiach is going to come and show that it's permissible. One second, but you can't do that. You can't have one person can't just decide laws and just wipe out laws. You can't do that. So let's say like this: that the laws of slaughtering in the Torah, lo ne'amru, were not said melechadchila al shchita miyuchedes. The laws of shchita in the Torah, the slaughtering of the Torah, is talking about when a Jew wants to eat from a regular ox or a regular cow or a goat or a deer or a sheep. And then it tells the laws. But the laws don't apply to such a weird case like this. Here you have to have a new law. That the fish is killing the... This is a new situation which will only arise in the days of the Mashiach. And therefore, they'll have to have an appropriate law, a new sort of a law to adapt itself to this new situation. That's one way of explaining it. There's going to be more. We can also say that maybe this is just what's called how do we call it? An emergency law. This is not really a new law that came from God. Sha'ari lamdu chachamim rishonim mipia shemua b'kol mipia shemua b'kol im yomar lecha navi. We learned from the Torah that says that if a prophet tells you to do something and transgress a law of the Torah, you should listen to him, except for idolatry. In other words, even a law which is against a prophet comes, a genuine prophet comes along and says, eat not kosher food, don't keep the Shabbat, one time, as you have to, if it's a genuine prophet, it has to be a perfect person that's been proven to a genuine prophet. He has to be a God-fearing person. The Rambam Maimonides brings all the criterion of a genuine prophet. But if he is, then one time you have to listen to what he says. We had, like I said, the example of in the time of the first temple, when the first temple was built, it was forbidden to make sacrifices anywhere except for in the temple. People used to make sacrifices. There were times people could make sacrifices on backyard altars called bama. people would make bama. They would make a sacrifice. When the first temple was built, it was forbidden. You can't make sacrifices outside of the holy temple. Well, that's exactly what Elijah the prophet did. Elijah the prophet, he made this big war against the idol worshippers. They worshiped this idol called the Baal, and he made a war against them. And he said, "Okay, you make a sacrifice. We'll build altars here." It was on Har Carmel, Mount Carmel. You build an altar. I'll build an altar, and we'll see who, if fire comes from heaven, then on whoever's sacrifice it comes on, that's the one who wins. You guys first. So they said, pray to your gods, but they prayed to the sun god, the god of the sun called the Baal, and nothing happened. And then he said, God, answer me, and a big fire came down from heaven, and it ate up his sacrifice with the altar, with the rocks, with everything. Okay, very nice, very impressive, but yeah, he did a sin. You can't offer offerings outside. So it says, no, he was a genuine prophet, and a genuine prophet has the ability to transgress a sin one time, only in an emergency situation. So maybe this is the same thing. Maybe we can say this is not, it was just a temporary thing. So that's maybe why. But there's another way of looking at it. Maybe this is not a temporary thing. No. Torah. This is not a temporary thing. This is the example of what Mashiach is going to do. Make new laws in the Torah. That the laws of the Torah were not said about this type of slaughtering. Right? This type of slaughtering is a different type of slaughtering. And for this, we will change the laws of Shechita. Not everywhere, but only in such cases like this, with a fish with the. If we can say so we also find the thing, like we said, the Rebbe finds in where it was Elijah the prophet on Mount Carmel. Like I just said, it says, you're not allowed to make sacrifices only in the holy temple. But nevertheless, okay. We just that's what I explained to you. In such an emergency situation like this, it wasn't really forbidden for him. He didn't really transgress any law. It wasn't a new law. Yeshlom will say the same thing is also going to be about the slaughtering of the ox by means of with the fins of this fish, that God will reveal a new Torah. A new Torah. It can't be revealed only by means of God, because this type of shechita, slaughtering, was meant for when you want to slaughter a normal cow or a normal sheep. So it's going to be a new situation, and because of that, we're going to have a new law only in regards to this situation. So in other words, the Mashiach is not going to come and change the Torah. He's only going to adapt the Torah to certain unusual situations. Even though that it can't be or not revealed by means of a normal pupil that he learns according to the laws and the principles of interpretation of the Torah, but only God can reveal it. But nevertheless, doesn't oppose this law of the Torah is not in heaven, like we learned with Elijah the prophet. We learned with Rebbe Eliezer. Yeshlom, we can say that a Melech HaMashiach, that the Melech HaMashiach, that he's going to be very wise. He is going to explain these laws. Now listen to this. He's going to explain this new law to the Beit Din HaGadol in Yerushalayim. And we're going to get to this thing about the law of like Beit Shammai. That's what we're going to have to do tomorrow. The Mashiach is going to be so wise that he's going to explain these new laws to the Sanhedrin, because the new laws have to be made by Sanhedrin. The Kavan She'en Ikra Torah, since the Sanhedrin, the high court, they are the main thing of the explanation of the Torah, and they are the ones who decide all the laws of the Torah. They decide the way the Jewish people should act. So therefore, it'll be Chirush Torah Me'iti Teitze. What does it mean? That the high court, up to now, according to the principles that they know of learning Torah, they couldn't decide this new law. But the Mashiach will come along, and because he's going to be so tremendously wise, he will explain to the rabbis in a way that they understand and they will then decide according to their understanding, which the Mashiach is going to convince them that this is going to be the law. So if so, what does it mean? It means that, yes, it's going to be a new law. It's going to be revealed by God. It's going to be miraculous. And the Mashiach is going to be a prophet. But this prophecy is going to be relevant to learning the laws of the Torah. And he will explain it in a totally new way to the rabbis so that they'll all agree with him. So since that this is a big novelty, and it's going to be part of the new logic and reasoning and mysteries of the Torah, and there'll also be a new laws of the Torah, namely this one particular law. This is the explanation of the new Torah that the Mashiach is going to reveal. So therefore, we have to say there must be a connection between them. It must be that this one seemingly meaningless law about the fish can slaughter the ox with its fins somehow or other is tremendously important, and it's tremendously connected to the mysteries and the new awareness of God that Mashiach is going to bring to us. Namely, the novelty, the laws of the Torah must be somehow or other a result of the secrets of the Torah that Mashiach is going to reveal, and we'll find out how, God willing, tomorrow. And now we're going to learn Hayom Yom. Actually, maybe I should make this separate, but okay. In one of the visions, when the Tzemach Tzedek saw the Alter Rebbe in the 30 days of mourning for the Alter Rebbe, after the Alter Rebbe passed away, so his grandson was very close to him, and he would see his grandfather regularly. So his grandfather sometimes would even come and say whole Maimonium to him, whole Hasidic discourses, pages and pages. Afterwards, it says, if a man admits seed first, then the child is a female. That's your mother. The Tzemach Tzedek's, I want to explain this to you in 1 minute. If the woman gives seed first and she gives a male, that's you. Okay, the Alter Rebbe was, he was put into prison and he was sentenced to death. He was taken to wasn't actually sentenced to death. He was brought to prison in the coach, the black coach, which only people that are killed are put in this black coach. And he was charged with trying to rebel against the Tsar. But the fact is that the Alter Rebbe knew that the reason that he was put into prison was because he was revealing deep ideas of Hasidut. And the ones that put the Alter Rebbe in prison were the religious Jews. They called the Misnagdim. They made up charges against him. But he realized that his life was really in danger for revealing these deep ideas of Hasidut. So his daughter, her name was Dvar, she went to she gathered 3 holy Jews together, big Hasidim, and she said that she wants to give her life for that of the Rebbe. It was like the day before Rosh Hashanah. She wants to give her life for her father's life. And they said, no, we can't do this. And she insisted. And that's it. She said, I'm going to give my life. And sure enough, the day after Rosh Hashanah, she passed away. She was young. Her son was the Tzemach Tzedek. He was the 3rd Rebbe of Chabad. And he, from birth, he was a tremendous, incredible genius. Okay. So he said, if a man gives seed first, then it's a female. In other words, your mother, she came directly from me. That's my daughter, he said to the Tzemach Tzedek. And you come directly from your mother. In other words, it says if the woman gives seed first, then it's a male. So in other words, your mother came directly from my influence, and you came directly from your mother's influence. So you're a straight line from me. That's what the Rebbe said to the Tzemach Tzedek. Okay, this might not seem to a person that's sort of outside of Chabad, but the Rebbes of Chabad were all the Mashiach of their generation. The Mashiach is the person that he changes the whole world. So, but the idea of the Mashiach is that you have to listen to him, what he says, what his teachings are. So it makes a big difference if you say this person is the Mashiach or not. If the person is not the Mashiach, then he's a wise person and you should learn from him. But if he's the Mashiach, he's like a king. And every word that he says has meaning beyond what we can possibly understand. We have to take him deeply, deeply seriously, and also to do what he says. So it depends who this person is. So the Alter Rebbe was Moshiach, and he says that there's that Tzemach Tzedek was directly from him. He was also the Moshiach. So you have to read and do what he says, as we'll talk about more, God willing, tomorrow. Today at 3 o'clock, we'll learn 3 o'clock Chumash. Shalom uvracha. Thank you for coming.